Hello, and welcome to the Your Sports Resource podcast. My name is Renata Porter, and today, for our very last podcast of the year of 2023, we have Jennifer LaMont, the CEO of ASCA. Jennifer is a seasoned and successful leader with over 30 years experience heading member-driven advocacy organizations. She is the first female CEO of ASCA and has been in that role now for 2.5 years, right? 2.5 years.
Yeah,
All right.
I believe.
Welcome. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
let's end out the year with a bang.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just kick off the conversation about how's the year gone? How's it been? What exciting things have happened in the world of ASCA?
So yeah, I'm so glad to be here to talk about it because I feel like we're doing so many things. We're trying all the time to add member benefits, and the biggest challenge, honestly, is to just get coaches to know about them
Yeah.
and to use them because they're just not used to so much being in one place at their fingertips, which is what we really have tried to do. We switched over to a whole new website, a whole new data management system. It's been about a year and a half, I guess, and there are so many things. Once members log in, they have access to. One of the things I'm most excited about is bringing Russell Mark on board.
Yes.
And they have access to an incredible data library as well as a video library. He puts his videos that he's been shooting out and about, visiting clubs. He puts the videos in there and does analysis, and it's just gold, and coaches, once they see it and go into it, they're just like, how did I not know this was here?
Yeah.
This is amazing stuff. So yeah, so that's one of the biggest things that I'm really excited about, but just so many resources that are now available to coaches just by virtue of being an ASCA member. We have really tried not to nickel and dime. It's available. The mentor program, the ambassador program, the, like I said, the libraries, the talks library, everything in there, you just have access to just by being an ASCA member. So
Great.
That's a lot of what we've been building over the last year.
So they just go, when they log in, they can see everything's available and take their own time to either just do what's been uploaded for general knowledge of their interest. And then they can also do courses, right? Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Is that what you mean? Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So there's also courses available, which is another exciting area that we've gone into in the last years. We're starting to create new courses. The first year that I was in the position, we really focused on updating our certification courses. So levels 1 through 5, completely redone on the online versions as well as the in-person versions. And Russell does level 2, but all the levels have been redone. And then
Nice.
we're now, in the last year, we were adding courses, as you are familiar, Renata, because you have done one of our courses. So we do have a course on organizational leadership, and you can talk a little bit about that. But yes, that's one of the things we've been hearing that coaches wanted. So we appreciate partnering with you to bring that information.
Great. Yeah, we did a course on communication and leadership. So that was a lot of fun. It was challenging.
Right.
I've never done anything like that before. So it was really challenging. But really exciting. So,
yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, so a lot of times, when I look at social media, whether it's SwimSwam or just on Instagram or LinkedIn, when coaches are talking about specific topics, there's a lot of times where there's that tug of war between, I don't know, ASCA should be doing this or USA Swimming should be doing this. Can you just kind of explain your view or your perception of where the lines are between ASCA, ISCA, USA Swimming, even organizations like mine? How do you feel they all work together and where are the lines there?
So it's interesting you ask, because I have been saying from the beginning, whenever I talk to members or other organizations that offer, like the ones you just listed, that offer resources for coaches, my attitude is that if you are offering something for coaches, let's all work together in a community. Let's not work against each other. Let's work to complement each other so that, I say, if you're offering something that's going to be beneficial for coaches, then I'm all for it.
Right.
And we'll all work together. But there are, I will say that coming in, I was asked the question many times when I first started, what do you think about USA Swimming now doing coach certifications? Isn't that taking away, ASCA's whole reason for being? And first of all, that is not ASCA's whole reason for being. ASCA has been very instrumental and been the main point for certifications. And we still do offer, like I said, we revamped them all. We still do offer the best, in my opinion, the best certifications, but we do so much more. Like, we are the professional organization for coaches. So we offer a variety of resources, of support programs, of programs, awards, programs to inspire coaches. Like, we are so much more than the organization that offers certifications. That being said, USA Swimming has started offering certifications. The first group that they created are the ones that are mandatory, right? So they have explained to me that, based on all kinds of new rules and laws and USOPC and Ted Stevens Act, they have to have very specific trainings that, cover their liability, basically.
Right.
And then, so that was the first round. Now they are starting to branch out into some other optional certifications. But again, I say that, I still believe ours are the gold standard of certifications. And they're all out there. And if coaches want, and they're all optional as far as, what we offer and then what they're starting to offer. And it's all good for coaches in the end. Right. So, that's how I look at it. I also feel like, USA Swimming can't do everything. They certainly have limited resources. Every organization does. So I believe they should also be looking to us to say, and we talk regularly, like, you guys offer that and we'll offer that. And we're trying to get to that place where we're complementing each other, not offering the same, but we're providing more by having the two of us work together.
Yeah. I love that. I love the symbiotic type atmosphere. I know it sounds woo-woo when I use the word symbiotic, but I agree. I think clubs need so much help, right? And and teams and coaches need so much help. And I think that sometimes, like, even if let's just say all three of us put out the same course or program, how I present it would be different than how you would present it, how USA Swimming would present it. And I think when the coaches have a diverse opportunity to have access to different types of learning, it only helps the industry. And I think there's plenty of room for all of us to be in this space and learn and share. You mentioned support programs. Can you go into that a little bit? Like, what outside of your courses and stuff like that? What do you mean by support?
Yeah. So, one of the programs that we started this year was our club support with Frank Bush. So Frank Bush has this long history in the sport at all levels of the sport. And so he's retired. So he's come on board, and he and Russell have a workshop that we're offering. So that's one area that we do. And of course you do club support, and so does USA Swimming. So that's a perfect example of what you're talking about. Everybody comes at it from a different angle. And it's all valuable. But we offer programs like our mentor program. I'm really proud of our mentor program. It's very popular. We're in our third year of it now. And it's where we pair a gold, silver, and bronze coach, which is not our idea, by the way. CSCAA does it. We Coach does it. It's a proven model that both organizations said, take it. It works. So we have, and it's true. Coaches love it. It's 3 levels of experience in a triad, and they meet once a month on Zoom over a year. And we give them prompts, and we meet with them periodically, bring them all into a Zoom together. And it's just a great way for coaches to find that support, because it's just such a small group, and they're able to really get to know each other and really get vulnerable and share and get advice. And like I said, it's not typical mentor-mentee. It's, the mentees are the young coaches are teaching as much to the older coaches as vice versa. And then you got your mid-career in there. So that's one of the programs that I think is a great program that supports coaches. Our ambassador program is where we have volunteer coaches out around the country who are the point people. So that's another way where, you may not see me out on deck. I can't be everywhere, or our staff even, but that's our way to scale up, and have representatives, so to speak, out and about, who can talk about our programs, who can point people in the right direction, who can answer questions or send questions or concerns back to us at headquarters so that we can address them. So that's another one. And like I said, the resources on our website are another one where coaches can go and tap in. And then we do our regional clinics.
Right.
So we're in person doing clinics. We do about 3 or 4 a year in addition to World Clinic, which we have been ramping up every year into a bigger and better event. We had a great
Right.
event in Dallas this past year, and we're looking forward to Orlando coming up in 2024. But the regional clinics are another way where coaches can come together in person, share, you know, in a somewhat relaxed environment, get to know each other, where it's obviously different than if you're taking a
Yeah.
course online or something like that. So.
Have you noticed that are the coaches really are they open to sharing from your perspective? Because I find maybe I should wait for you to respond, but I find that sometimes they are really reluctant to open up and share because for whatever reason. I mean, I can assume it's because they don't want to look like they need help or that they feel like nobody will help them. But,
Mhm.
I find that once like I can really encourage them to open up and go find a mentor or, kind of work with other coaches or open up to us and be truthful and honest so we can help them, that they're like, why the heck did I wait so long? So do you see like do you see any struggle with coaches trying to open up and share and work with each other to help each other in the industry?
Well, I would say that is true, generally speaking. And I
Mm,
will say that what I just talked, I feel like bringing them together in a small group and really
right,
getting to, that's the key, is those relationships, really building that
right,
relationship of trust. So whether it's in a small mentor group or whether it's in a one-on-one conversation over time where you're developing that relationship, like that's how coaches then will share
right.
and talk and be vulnerable. Um, and get the help that they need. But yeah, I do agree with you that it's tough. I mean, let's face it, coaches are competitive.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it's
And
hard
tired.
to be really competitive and then
Yeah.
admit to your faults to your to your competition or like who a fellow coach, so yeah, it is a challenge. I mean, I feel like I see it sometimes. I see it in those clinics, in those small group settings. I see
Yeah.
those relationships being built, but it takes time. It's over a few
Yeah.
days. It's over, the social as well as the coffee, as well as like, you kind of
Yeah.
have to bond a little before you start sharing. And yeah.
Yeah. We are in 2024, we are going to launch a new platform that we hope that the coaches will take advantage of. And essentially it will be a group just for them. Um, and it's kind of on the along the lines of like a Facebook group, but it is a private platform. It operates like Facebook. You can post, you can ask questions, you can join groups and all that kind of thing, but it's private. There's no ads. It will only be for coaches, and we're hoping that the coaches will drive it. We don't want to get in the middle of it. I mean, obviously we'll probably post like, hey, we have this coming out, but really we want them to be able to get online and share, because we know there's WhatsApp groups and there's some Facebook groups. With Facebook, you also have parents in there and you also have board members in there. So people are a little afraid to share. And then our only requirement, other than behaving yourself, is that we're not going to allow anonymity. So you're going to have to own your name and comment and share, and we're hoping that the coaches will.
That'll keep the comments under control.
Yeah, well, I
Somewhat,
just
I
think that,
think.
listen, there are times when people need to express their honesty, and I want them to do that. How do you learn? How do you grow if you're not honest, right? But it's just how you go about that. And we were thinking that if we have a closed system that's coaches only, they'll be verified by us that they're coaches, and they drive their own conversation, that it'll just provide another avenue for them to talk. Listen, that's our idea of, we're hoping that that's going to work. So
We actually have something similar on our website, and it hasn't really
yeah,
taken off yet, although I feel like we haven't really pushed it out there enough.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
part of
yeah,
a built-in feature of our website where coaches can
right.
go in and once they've logged in as members, go onto a board, a community where they
Yeah,
can. So
yeah,
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 but again, I'm glad to see the more the merrier. Like let's all
yeah,
see what we can do to, see what hits and what really helps.
right. Excuse me. So for me on this podcast, and even in front of clients, I've, especially a lot of my conversations with boards, because, sometimes through no fault of anybody's, there's a bit of turnover with coaches. And boards don't tend, as their parents, don't tend to really understand that. They get irritated and feel there's a problem. And why is it taking so long to hire somebody? And a lot of times I have the conversations that are about, listen, you have to understand two things. First of all, why are you rushing in to hire just a warm body? They have to fit for your organization. So that takes time. But the other side of that is that, I feel like sometimes we're looking at a mass exodus of this profession, and coaches are leaving, right? So what are some things that ASCA is doing to help find and keep coaches in the industry?
Yeah, that's a big question. I mean, our mission is to inspire, support, and advocate for coaches.
Right.
And the more we're able to do that and the better we are at doing that, I feel like the more coaches will stay in the profession. So it's really our reason, that's our mission, is to
Right.
do all those things that keeps them in the profession and keeps them thriving and happy and makes the profession a place where, they feel respected and rewarded and fulfilled. And as you know, there are many factors that pull strings and
Yeah.
pull coaches away from those ideals.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing battle. The programs we provide are for that very reason. We're getting more involved in advocacy, so we're getting more involved in like making sure coaches know about their governance. Like, what is the governance of the sport? How can they have a voice? Because just the fact that there is a route to have a voice in what all these rules that come down
Hmm.
is a way for you to feel like, okay, I fit into this bigger picture and I do have a voice and I'm not just a victim of all the
Yeah.
rules and craziness that could possibly come down, and also to know why. Like, a lot of times it is a federal mandate or something. There's reasons, and if you know the why, then you're more able to accept it and figure out how to affect it if you need to affect it. And that's what
Right.
I feel like our role is as well, is to help coaches come together as a profession and have a voice in the sport. And
Right.
sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't, but we need to push harder so that the coach voice is heard in the decisions that are made that affect them in the sport, because they
Yeah.
really are the ones that are the closest to it. um and
I think too,
so
there's
I don't know,
sorry.
I'm not sure how to answer that question. Like, we're trying in many ways, and I guess, now that I think about it, like, we are trying to reach out to the newer generation. We
Hmm.
probably could do more in the future. I feel like we need to reach down into the student level to talk to them about what a fulfilling career they can go into while we're
Yeah.
continuing to make it a fulfilling career. We do have a 30 under 30 program at ASCA that we started a couple years ago that is a huge investment for ASCA because it grants 30 World Clinic registrations, full registrations to any coach under the age of 30 who's never been to a World Clinic before. And the whole idea here is that we want to bring in these young 20 something coaches who have no idea what kind of community that they are walking into. There's a great community in the
Yeah.
swim coach profession. And an experience like World Clinic really opens your eyes to all that's out there, all the people that want to support you, the networks you can build, and the resources that are available to you.
Yeah.
So we really make a huge investment to bring in those young coaches, and hope that they will, they're our future and that they will tap into the community and become our future leaders.
Yeah. I think the other side of it too, and you kind of addressed this at the past World Clinic in Dallas, because a lot of your talks were on leadership, is that the world of sport has changed quite a bit. It is now elevated more into a business than it ever has before, or club sports, I guess I should say. And I think that, putting the board aside and their responsibilities of ensuring that they pay well, have great benefits, those kind of things, and they lead. So I'm going to put that aside because we're only talking about coaches. But the other side of it is, you know, workers today know they want to be valued in order to provide value. And no longer can coaches just wing it as far as leading staff. And I think, one of the areas that we work really hard and why you and I, ASCA and Your
Mhm.
Sports Resource started to work together is to bring in those leadership practices to listen, if you are responsible for staff, you have to learn to lead and invest in your staff. And I think that's like the biggest gap of what's missing in the coach space of, you know, it's strange to me that there's, well, maybe it's not strange, but I think that people are still kind of stuck in that old mindset of, well, you just learn how to lead and do by osmosis instead of investing in the actual staff. And, I know when I first started this endeavor about whatever, 4 years ago, um, there were several coaches that would tell me, oh, it's too corporate. And how is it corporate to make sure that all of your staff understand how they should be leading their kids, how to design practices, how to have great relationships with their parents and with each other, building that great culture? And like when we start talking and moving in that direction of your leadership is really key, it's not all about what you learn in the technical space. Unfortunately, if you lead others, you have to have the technical side and you have to have the human side and you have to be able to lead individuals. And I think the more we can get head coaches and clubs to consider their culture and their leadership practices, I think that too will also help keep coaches in the profession because they'll feel valued. They'll,
Yes,
again, not sidestepping pay and benefits is a big piece of it, but
correct.
I think from a leadership perspective, when coaches are coming through the ranks, and they know that their boss cares about them as an individual and how they're building their expertise and are allowed to make mistakes and correct those mistakes and are doing those types of activities. I think that will also kind of really help people stay in the arena. So I'm hoping that we can do a little bit more on the leadership stuff, work together on that, because I really would like to see it's not a soft skill. I don't know how to explain it, but leadership practices for these guys and women
Yeah,
to be able to, a lot of these head coaches are not just head coaches anymore. They're CEOs. Right. But they
correct.
don't
Yeah,
understand. They have that title, but they don't understand what that
yeah,
means by driving programs and building revenue and all that. They only have their
yeah.
limited expertise. So I think that the more we can invest in their leadership practices, the better we will be on all scales of where coaches are, whether they're just starting or have been in the industry for a while.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, so many coaches got to that head coach position because they were such good coaches.
Hmm.
And now they have all these additional responsibilities about running the organization. And like you said, like the boards sometimes feel like it's just osmosis. You're going to learn how to do that. Like that you're
Yeah.
now in the right. I mean, it happens in every industry, right? Like you get put
Right.
into a managerial role and you have no managerial skills.
Right.
And I feel like, yeah, we just have to acknowledge that and get the training. It's,
Right.
there's training. That's what you do. That's what we do.
Right.
Like we work together to do. And, you're right. If we can just get to more coaches and, but of course they feel like I don't have time for that because their plates are
Yeah.
so
That is
full.
a big
Their
factor.
plates all weekend and, 14 hours a day. And that's the other thing that I really want to work on is what is the norm for a coach, because it's really not sustainable. We burn coaches out by just the
Yes.
the nature of the job as what is considered the norm, being at morning workouts at 5 a.m. and then being at the pool till 8 o'clock at night and then having all weekend long. And then, it's not sustainable and it's not a healthy lifestyle. And that's another contributing factor,
Yeah.
to why coaches want to leave. So, I feel like and then the pay and benefits, in many cases, it's not the standard to provide a retirement plan and
Yeah.
benefits and medical benefits
Yeah.
and
Club's got to
high
get out
pay.
of that.
And we need to keep pushing to make that the standard.
Yeah. I think an area for advocacy is that whole how much time they spend. I can't tell you how many times boards are like, "Psh, they only work a few hours. They don't work my schedule." And I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. Like
Yeah.
between being on deck and administrative duties for a full-time employee, they're working almost 38 hours a week when you add in just regular a meet a month, right? Not
Right.
including multiple meets. and not including championship meets where you're on deck even longer.
Yeah.
And so they work way over 40 hours a week, even if you average it out. And I think the other side of it is what clubs need to understand, or, club leadership, if you're a board run club, is that they are also with other children during prime family time. So they are coaching morning practice and missing breakfast with their own kids. They're
Correct.
missing
Yeah.
dinner with their own family so they can be with other family members. And yes, they've chosen this profession, and that's how it's always been. And, weekends away, that's part of the profession. But that doesn't mean that club leadership should ignore that. They have to understand that they give up a lot of their own personal time or personal time with their family in order to do their job. And they really should take that into consideration and be more appreciative of that, instead of just saying, oh, well, they don't work as many hours as I do. I beg to differ. I bet if we actually did a side by side.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like that's a reason, but on another topic, I feel like that's a very big contributing reason to why females don't rise up as much in the coaching profession.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think the statistic is slightly over 50% of coaches in USA Swimming are female. But if you go out onto a deck at a national championship meeting, like juniors or US Open or any, higher level meet of senior national swimming, you're going to find 10-20% are female on the deck.
Yeah.
And there's a huge drop off. And I feel like, we're missing so much in our sport by having a lifestyle that doesn't support women getting to those levels. Like, we're missing out. We have some great female coaches out. There's so much that female coaches can contribute, and to have the lifestyle divert them from getting to that level, it's a loss for all of us. So we've got to figure out that problem as well, and we're working on it. So that's something that's coming. By the way, we've done workshops. We call them leadership workshops at some of our clinics over the past couple of years, but we're really trying to brainstorm about scaling up and figuring out how we can really address those issues I just talked about, and how we can help women network more and help each other. And we're having, actually later today, we're having our second brainstorming session with female coaches. Anyone who wants to join, we put it out to all our membership. And we're coming up with some really good ideas that I'm really excited about that we're going to try to implement in the coming year.
I hope you are also going to advocate to USA Swimming to choose more women coaches at that level, at that higher level, to go to those national meets, because I think, some of the representation is not also a choice either, right? I don't think it always just sits with the women. I think there's some great women across this country that are coaches that just don't get selected. So for whatever those national meets are. So. All right. In addition to the women's program, what do you have upcoming in 2024 that you're really excited about?
Well, we are doing more courses. So there's more courses on a variety of subjects coming out. So the online courses, as well as some in-person, like we're just doing a planning age group workouts or practices. Dan Mascalo is going to be delivering that in person. We do have that online with Chad Onken. We're trying to do a lot more for the age group coaches, because we know how much they are starving for more, professional development and education. So doing a lot in that area. We also are expanding our international clinics greatly. Just this last week, we had coaches presenting ASCA certifications in Indonesia and in Dubai. So that was exciting. Huge conferences, like hundreds of coaches at each one of them, which is exciting to have that international flair. We're also getting ready to do some stuff at Olympic trials. So in Indianapolis, we will be offering some coach education in between prelims and finals. So coaches who are probably not going to be the coaches so much that have athletes there, but I know a lot of coaches go and visit and watch Olympic trials. And so, or coaches in the area will have a few hours of education in between prelims and finals. Make the most of your time there, and have some socials too. And it's a big event in the community, as we all know. So we'll be there in full force.
Yeah. Awesome. Wonderful. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts for the listeners?
I just want to thank you for what you do for our community. I mean,
Oh,
you are
thank you.
providing a resource that is so needed out there. And, you know, and you're building those relationships is like what I said. Like, I feel like it's all about building the relationships and having the trust. And then coaches can really get the help that they need and the support that they need. And you're out there doing it every day. And I can't thank you enough. And thank you for partnering with us to reach coaches and give them that support.
Thanks for that. And we appreciate the alignment as well. It's really good to align with the organizations to make sure that we are serving the industry. We both have those personal swimming backgrounds, and we just, I love being able to give back to an industry that gave me so much in the bulk of my professional career. I don't think I would have gotten as far as I did in leadership if I hadn't been in the sport of swimming. And
I totally
I'm,
agree. I feel the same way.
yeah,
I feel the same
I'm
way.
really appreciative of the opportunity to be able to give back. So thank you for that recognition. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to talk
All
to you.
right. Thanks everyone for listening. Please subscribe and review this podcast so we can reach a bigger audience and help others such as yourself. And don't forget the website, yoursportsresource.com, where you can find articles and tools as well as more info on how we can work directly. Finally, remember, common sense isn't always common practice. Put what you learn into action. Don't just be good at it. All right. See everybody in 2024. Thank you.